Let me tell you a little bit about your enemy. This is part two of eternity. And I wanted people to understand that what you're facing is not what you believe it to be. Your enemy from the beginning has always used seduction. He has always used something that appeals to your flesh. It never starts out as something that is blatantly obvious or wrong. He always comes at you with something that leads through desire or to desire or something you think you desperately need. Just think about it. In the garden, what was the first thing that he tried to do? It was always seduction. Okay, if you do this, then you're going to gain knowledge. If you do whatever he comes at you with, he makes sure that you think that you're going to gain something. Another thing that most people do not understand is it's the very thing that you think you hold dear is usually what he holds against you. It will be in some form of something that you're lacking, that you feel that you are entitled to. When you look around the world today, what do you see? You see an entitlement attitude in everyone. Somebody owes me something. Black Lives Matter, Planned Parenthood, abortions. You can't tell me what to do with my body. It's my life. This baby is host. I'm the host, and this baby is, surviving from my body. I can choose whether or not I allow this thing to grow inside of me. All the extreme, radical twisting of morality to suit oneself, to fulfill your own satisfaction, to put yourself higher than you should be. The complete lack of thinking of others greater than yourself. They could have explained the flesh in one simple word, just self, okay? Self everything. When you are consumed with thinking of self, you are constantly going to be lacking something. You are never going to be happy. You were not designed to be a creature that was selfish in nature. Through the fall, because your focal point has been drawn into yourself and what you see, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, all those things came with the fall. And it will be in that area that he tempts you. And it will not come out straightforward like you're going to just obviously see it. It's going to be something that you think you deserve, something you think you've worked for, something you think is owed to you. It always begins with a grievance with someone else, or a grievance with the world, or a grievance with something that you think you deserved that you did not get. If your enemy can get you to focus in on your own selfishness, he has already won the battle and you don't even know that you're in one. He slowly whittles away at what is good, the God consciousness in you that warns you when you're going over into an area that you do not need to be in. He always comes at you like that. Self. Always pay attention. If it's concerning yourself, if it's concerning anything to do with yourself, you can bet there's a catch to it. And you can bet there's a temptation involved in it. And you can bet there is an agenda behind it from your enemy. The worst possible thing we can do every day is get up and be consumed with ourselves. That's why God tells us in the Word that it's better to give than to receive. That's why God tells us that we should treat others the way we want to be treated. Because if we get outside of thinking of ourselves and we get on to thinking of others and their needs, and we get on to thinking of all the things going on this planet that are so much worse off than the current circumstances we usually find ourselves in, you're going to be able to evaluate and see the big picture. As long as you are drawn inside yourself into your own fleshly, lustful, sinful nature, your enemy has the upper hand. You can't be taught this stuff on your own, okay? And the world is going to teach you 10 times worse than what you think you already know. The world was designed to draw you further and further into yourself. Why do you think the agenda is to destroy the family? Why do you think the agenda is, oh, this is what I want and you have to give it to me? Because if you don't give it to me, then you're a bigot and you're a racist and you're a this and you're a that. It is a constant pull on self. What do I want? What do I need? What do I deserve? Why can't I be happy? Why can't they do what I tell them to do? Why can't they do things to make me happy? It is always me, myself, and I mentality. And the whole time you'll be thinking you deserve it without clearly seeing that it is an agenda to draw you into deep, deep sin. With that said, this subject is very deep, like I said in part one, and I'm going to continue to tell you what the Lord has shown me. I read every psychology book I could get my hands on. I did self-help. I'm smart enough to figure out what's wrong with me, and I'm going to fix myself, and I'm going to do what's right, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and me, 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 me. For years, I did that until God started showing me what I was doing wrong. There's something about looking at something bigger than yourself that humbles us. There's something about not thinking about yourself that wakes you up to the possibility that you are not the center of the universe and everything you want, you don't deserve. We're all guilty of this, okay? Every single one of us. You are born knowing how to be selfish. The world around you teaches you. Get an education, get money, get material things, get. Do. More, 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 more. That is why it's enmity against God. His system does not work anything like the world system. So if it reminds you of the world system, you probably shouldn't be in it. And if everyone hasn't noticed lately, the churches seem to be an awful lot like the world system. They advertise like the world. Their financial systems are set up like the world. Big red flags should be going off in your head when you see those things. Nothing about the world will ever serve you or make you better than who you are. It will drag you down into self-pity, self-worth, and everything about you being conceited and selfish. The only way you can climb the ladder in a world system is to elevate yourself above others, which is the exact opposite of what Jesus Christ did. He debased himself. He lowered himself down to a servant, even though he was the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Because God knows only through great humility can truth be found. You cannot find it elevated inside your own mind or inside your own reality. And with that said, I'm going to go on to part 3 and try to explain to you not only what your enemy does, but what God has called us to do. What He is trying to make us see in part 3. This battle is ancient, and what you're fighting has had thousands of years to get good at what He does. Thousands of years to get good at what He does. You have no possible hope of seeing through this illusion. Do you understand that the Freemasons were the greatest architects in the world? They literally designed our architecture. They are all on ley lines. They're on the 33-degree parallel. Why do you think they call Freemasons the 33-degree Freemasons? They have literally built this world on a grid system to pull in spiritual power. What do you think Kern is? It is a giant witchcraft, occult, symbolism, power pulling spell. Yes, they have used physics, and don't get me wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with intelligence. There's nothing wrong with science. There's nothing wrong with being a genius in mathematics and understanding how this universe works. But when you are being seduced and deceived by a spirit of the world that is literally fighting God with everything inside itself, and you're told to do these grand things that you think you're getting on your own, you end up with things like Kern. You end up with MK Ultra. You end up with the television brainwashing people. You end up in a grid that was designed to totally seduce you, confuse you, and you absolutely not know why. You cannot find God nor figure out how to live a good, decent life. You find yourself being seduced. You find yourself falling all the time. It was designed to do that to you. The people that have tapped into this power, this occultic power, know what they're doing. And they look at you like you're cattle. And they get that from their master. And I can promise you one thing, Lucifer is not God. He never has been. He's a wannabe. So he imitates the things of God. He tries to pretend to be God. He tries to offer things that God will not offer you because God knows it will lead to your destruction. God doesn't offer you things that lead to death. Why do you think He's against the homosexual agenda? It's not that He doesn't have a heart for people that are seduced into that lifestyle. He most definitely does have a heart. He knows it leads to death. There can be no creation in that relationship. There will never be any creation in that relationship. And if Lucifer has his way, everyone will be in those relationships, and he will completely kill off humanity, period. God cannot put His stamp of approval on anything that leads to death. And no life can come from those relationships. They are sterile. They are devoid of ever creating anything concerning life. God's ways are higher than our ways. He thinks higher than we do. If you've been seduced into a lifestyle that leads to death, He's going to warn you that you shouldn't be in that. Everyone really needs to step back and look at the big picture. Why do you think that agenda is being pushed so hard? Because if your enemy had his way, he would have everyone in those alternative lifestyles so that he could stop creation altogether. Period. He could stop the act of creating life. Why do you see on the sci-fi movies that there's population control and only certain people are allowed to have children? Because that is your enemy literally stopping creation. If we cannot create life, he can defeat us. He can wipe us out. and eradicate us as a species. Please wrap your mind about what I'm trying to say. Breaking up the family. Adultery. Oh, he's not giving me what I need. I'm not happy in my marriage. Let me go try to find it somewhere else. It all leads to the pit, people. When you elevate yourself above everyone else and your needs are more important than those around you, you are on a road to destruction, and your enemy knows you are. That's why he puts all these foolish things inside of our head. That's why he puts the pride of life and the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes in front of us all the time. Because he knows it will lead to your demise. It will destroy everything around you. And then when you think you're right at the point to where that you're going to get what you deserve, he's going to make sure you get caught doing whatever you're doing. He will set you up to have an affair and then turn around and make doggone sure your wife or your husband catches you doing it. He is not your friend, and anything he tempts you with is a lie. You better walk down the whole road. You better get to the end of the road and look back and see what you went through and what you're doing to everyone around you before you take that journey with him. If it's wrapped up in self, there's no good in it. And Scripture confirms this all the time. There's nothing good in our flesh. I love each and every one of you, and I hope that you understand what I'm trying to tell you. It is a game, and it has been set up for thousands and thousands of years to seduce you, to pull you in, to destroy your life, your family, and send you to the pit. And they're good at what they do. You need the Spirit of God living in you. You need to humble yourself and pray and ask God to forgive you for the things you've done wrong and open the eyes of your enlightenment so that you can see the seduction that's all around you. It's everywhere you look, people. You better look up what they doing to you with that TV you watching all the time. You better look and see what they're doing with every sign, symbol, fast food restaurant, internet connection. You better look into it because it's a net. Enter the world wide net. Internet. You are entering into a net of deception, deceit, lies, and foolery. You've been lied to. And you need God to pull you out of it. You need Him to open your eyes and show you what you're battling. Because it is no man or no woman that you're fighting. Ephesians 6 clearly tells us that we are fighting a spiritual war. And these fallen have set themselves up to be God. And they have wrapped you in a net called the world and seduced you in every angle possible to make sure that they succeed in making you fail. I pray in the precious name of Christ Jesus that everyone listening to this video will understand what I'm saying. That God will open the eyes of your enlightenment. And I'm sorry I sound desperate or harsh. I don't mean to be. My heart cries for the ones that cannot see what God has so graciously shown me. I'm nothing. I just sought Him. Seek Him and you will find the truth. Knock and the door will be opened unto you. Oh, precious saints, seek and you shall find. Go to God and ask Him what's wrong with this world. Ask Him to reveal to you what you need to know. Ask Him to reveal to you how you need to pray for your lost loved ones. Ask Him to reveal to you how to tell them the truth without turning them off or them turning their back on what you're trying to tell them. Time grows so short, everyone. And I love each and every one of you. I love you, and my heart cries for the ones that are blind, the ones that cannot see. You have been duped, lied to, seduced, and convinced. Evolution is a lie. It's all a lie.
formed the mountains. One pair of hands formed the sea. One pair of hands made the sun and the moon. Every bird, every flower, every tree. One pair of hands formed the valleys, the ocean, the rivers, and the sand. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one pair of hands. One pair of hands healed the sick. One pair of hands raised the dead. One pair of hands calmed the raging storm, and thousands of people were fed. One pair of hands said, I love you, and those hands were nailed to a tree. Those hands are so strong, so when life goes wrong, put your faith into one